That is the hardest part of that ring.
For the hardest part of the ring.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the hardest part of the ring.
Hello and welcome to episode number 46 of Hardest Part of the Ring, the podcast where four friends get together to discuss the wonder of professional wrestling. I am Adam and Sam is here.
46, mate. It's the countdown to 50. It's on.
It is. John. John, are you here?
Hello.
Yes, and Brett is here.
Hello.
Oh, Brett, so nice of you to show up.
Just a day late.
Yeah, I'm going to let the listeners into a little secret. We are recording this on Tuesday. We were supposed to be recording this yesterday, so on the Monday, so we had a bit more time to get it edited and be a bit more relaxed. But Brett double booked himself and went to watch wrestling instead.
Yes. It wasn't all that bad though, because I realised just this evening, just before starting this podcast, that if we had put it to tomorrow, I would have double booked myself again.
Oh, you've got to be joking.
Yeah, because we were going to do it Wednesday.
Most popular man
Brett.
in the room.
Yeah, you need to stop having a social life.
Brett screwed Brett and John and Adam and Sam.
Yeah, I was
Yes.
pumped. I'd sort of done all my pre-pod training to peak on Monday night. And now here we are on Tuesday. So
It did get a little tense in the WhatsApp group.
Yes.
But don't worry, I diffused that tension by spoiling the main event of WrestleMania 8 for everyone.
yeah,
Thanks, John.
yeah.
Yeah. No,
So,
really
yeah.
though, John, that's a big thank you from me.
Yeah,
You're welcome, Brett.
Brett was the biggest heel, and then John came and stole that heat right off him.
There's been a lot of chaos in the build-up to this pod, though. I watched all of WrestleMania 11 in preparation for WrestleMania 8.
Yes. To be fair, this is all rather fitting for WrestleMania 8 when you read into it.
Brett, I want to know, was it worth it? Was the wrestling good on Monday?
Oh yeah, it was great. It was really good. I got to see Rishi Ghosh, who is always hilarious.
Okay.
I don't know who that is.
He's the Prince of Mumbai. He's Hard Man Haircut. You have to just go on YouTube and find his Hard Man Haircut videos.
And am I right in saying that you saw somebody who supposedly had their last ever UK indie match?
Yes, so Doug Williams was there for another retirement match.
Oh dear.
Yeah, against
And-
Mark
and-
Haskins, so I really wasn't complaining.
Remind us what promotion it was?
Premier Promotions.
Premier Promotions. They get a
Yeah,
real
proper-
retirement match.
Old school, half-term kids sort of show.
Nice. Okay. Good.
Really selling it there, Brett.
No,
Yeah.
it's great. It's great.
I was going to say, like, that kind of wrestling, that's grassroots wrestling. That's great. Like, there's one that's going to be happening near me quite soon, LGN. And I was browsing their website and I didn't recognise any of their wrestlers apart from Flip Gordon.
Whoa.
Flip
Gordon.
Flip Gordon. Apparently Tony Storm started there as well, so I need to look more into this.
Yeah, you need to get there.
Well, I don't think he's doing stuff with them anymore. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It might have been like he started there or something.
Yeah, it must be.
And then he realised the world was flat and he couldn't wrestle there anymore.
Yeah. Didn't like the curvature over there.
Okay, right. Let's move on to this podcast. Or, well, quickly, I want to mention the last podcast we did, which was episode 45, the WWE Super Showdown review. So if you haven't listened to that, then why not just go back and listen to it? Today we're going to talk about WrestleMania 8, as we've mentioned, because this is a Hardest Part of the Ring rewind episode where we delve back into the archives to watch a classic pay-per-view from the past. We've also got the return of the hardest question of the week, and we're also going to have a very quick look at how our draft picks are getting on. So it's a bumper pod. But before that, we should probably touch upon the very sad news that everybody will be well aware of from Raw last night. Joe Anui, aka Roman Reigns, relinquishing the WWE Championship and announcing that after first battling with leukemia at the age of 22, unfortunately it's returned.
This is absolutely awful.
I'm all cried out today, guys.
It's sad, man.
It's been a rough day.
Yeah. It was, I mean, Sam sent us a message at 4 a.m.
Yeah, yeah, you do sound calm then.
I sent you guys lots of messages at 4 a.m.
I saw that and I was just like, I'm not looking on Twitter or anything. I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
That can wait.
I thought either someone had died or Toriano has made a debut in WWE.
If only. If only.
No, unfortunately not. Yeah, I mean, the first thing I did this morning was get up and put Raw on, and how powerful was that? Like, it was amazing, so brave for him to come out.
Yeah. To do it in front of all those people.
Incredible
And
stuff.
he held it together brilliantly.
I really want to give Seth Rollins a big hug and just tell him it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even Dean Ambrose.
It was very sobering, and it's
definitely.
it's incredibly sad, and it's nice to kind of see the entire wrestling world come together and kind of like put aside the whole kayfabe and everything to kind of just truly acknowledge that someone who works so hard in this business is kind of having to go through something so harrowing and difficult.
Yeah, it's kind of reinforced once again, because I'd heard whispers that the kind of influence that he is and has been in the dressing room and what a leader he is. But to hear everybody saying that again, like that Charlotte tweet that I sent around, was really, really powerful, and just really emotional. So obviously, we're sending our best wishes his way for what it's worth. Anyway, should we move on?
Get well soon, Roman.
Yes.
Come back.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, we've got lots to fit in, as we said, so let's get on with this Hardest Part of the Ring Rewind episode after this.
Welcome to Indianapolis, Indiana. Welcome to the Hoosier Dome. Welcome to WrestleMania 8.
So we are rewinding all the way back to the 5th of April 1992 for WWF WrestleMania 8. I'm going to go through what was number 1 in the box office charts and the UK charts as usual. Any guesses?
Terminator 2.
The box. No, I don't know. I know what was number 1 in the singles chart.
What was it?
Ooh, what?
It was Shakespeare's Sister. Do you remember them?
Who?
Yeah.
What?
With
Vaguely.
Stay.
Yeah.
Sam, this is your moment.
I've never heard of this band or this song.
You're so
I've
young.
heard the band, but I don't know the song.
Gonna hope and pray.
Yes.
Something. It goes like that, guys. That was my debut, my singing debut.
That was good, man. You're quite baritone.
Thanks.
You're very baritone.
Yeah.
You're baritone Corbin.
Bit flat, actually, if it would be critical.
Yeah. Fuck you. Never singing again. Top of the UK box office was a film I've never heard of. It's Deceived.
Nope.
Never heard of that.
Apparently, Goldie Hawn and John Hurd star as a happily married couple whose lives are disrupted when secrets from the past are revealed.
Goldie Hawn.
Who the hell's John Hurd?
I don't know. I thought maybe they meant John Hurt, but no, it was John
Wait.
Hurd.
Goldie Hawn, like Guns Don't Kill People rappers do.
No, that's Goldie Looking Chain, mate.
No.
Oh, fucking wow. Don't worry.
Sam proving he's the baby of the bunch.
Yeah. How can you get a Welsh sort of mock hip-hop band and like an old American actress mixed up?
It's almost like I've never looked into either of them.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh, you always struck me as a Goldie Looking Chain fan, Sam.
I mean, the song's good.
Right, moving on. Can you guys remember what you were doing in April 1992?
Fuck no.
No?
No, not really.
I would have been starting school.
Starting. Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, I was almost. I think I was on the brink of finishing middle school. So it would have been a summer and then secondary school for me.
Yeah, me too, actually, I guess.
Yeah. I know that this is definitely the era that I was really getting into wrestling for the first time. Because as I've made obvious in episode 1, and since then, SummerSlam 92, which was literally like 2 months after this, was the first big pay-per-view that I got into and watched. So it's an era that I'm really fond of, and I was really, really pleased to see a lot of the wrestlers on this card.
Oh, that's good.
It's a strong card, actually.
Yeah, yeah, very strong. But before we get into that, Brett, you are the one who picked this. You picked this as your rewind, as your pay-per-view.
Yes.
So are you able to give us like a little bit of maybe some context, an idea of the landscape at that time?
Well, I mean, I don't really know the landscape. I can tell you that, not anything obviously I knew at the time, but there was quite a lot of, growth hormone scandal and steroid usage that was causing people to be fired and to take hiatuses straight after this event, which is quite interesting. I'm sure we'll touch on that later.
Okay, might be able to guess.
This was meant to be as well, like a big part of the Shawn Michaels Marty Jannetty feud, because it was only when was it? A very short time before that. Shawn Michaels turned heel.
Mm-hmm. Through Jannetty through the barbershop window.
The barbershop window. Yep. One of the moments that lasted in my memory.
Yeah.
But Marty Jannetty had got arrested, so he could not appear. And in general, there's loads of funny stuff, because it was meant to be. So there's two main events.
Yeah.
Which is Ric Flair versus Macho Man Randy Savage, and Hulk Hogan versus Sid Vicious. But apparently, it was meant to be Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair, and they had done some promos before in the build-up to this. I don't know what actually made them go.
Yeah, I read something saying that they had meant to have Hogan Flair, and that they'd had a few house shows matches before, and then the powers that be didn't rate them, so they decided to go in another direction, which seems crazy. I don't know how true that is.
Yeah,
that does seem crazy.
I mean, I would argue maybe this is the most coked up WrestleMania ever.
This WrestleMania is an advertisement for why you shouldn't do steroids and coke.
Yeah. Well, to go further, so Legion of Doom only had a speaking bit on this because Hawk was currently serving a suspension.
Okay. Yep.
Obviously, we know about Jake the Snake's history, but he was actually trying to get his release from WWF at the time.
Yeah.
He left after this WrestleMania.
Yes, well, he used it as a bargaining chip by saying, I'm not going out unless you release me from my contract.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, which is amazing. So, there's just so much. And I think if you look later on, a little bit after this, British Bulldog was fired, Ultimate Warrior was fired, all because of, substance use for build. So, it's like the landscape was so rocky.
Yeah,
at that point.
I'm wondering if this kind of marks the end of a lot of the golden era, and then kind of like an era of quiet leading into what would eventually become the Attitude Era. Like, I'd say kind of wrestling from 92 or the early 90s up to about 96, 97, kind of maybe, I don't know, fell under the bus a little bit.
It probably made sense why the Hitman rose to the top.
Yeah.
At that point.
Because everyone else left, didn't they? Because Hogan left, Roddy left.
And Shawn Michaels,
Macho Man left.
He had a pretty good period after this.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I mean, obviously Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels became the faces of the company, but kind of it does seem like the last days of Rome with this pay-per-view, just how crazy a lot of the wrestlers were.
Every promo was just screamy, bulgy eyes, crusty noses.
It was amazing. The shouting, even like Gorilla Monsoon and that, like that.
Yeah.
Or the commentary was like being shouted at you practically as well. I mean, can you imagine like sustaining that for a whole pay-per-view?
Yeah. I mean, there was one bit in the Nasty Boys match where someone chopped them, and I swear to God, I saw a pume of like smoke just come out of their jackets. All the coke that had been carrying.
Well, what was it when Sid Justice smashed up the barber house and he got all the sugar glass over him, and it was just like,
No, did you see? I've seen that in a GIF or a clip later. What he actually like when he smashes it up, there is like an aerosol can of like
of cocaine.
Probably like the hair mousse or something.
Right, yeah.
I don't know.
That makes sense.
And he cracked it, and it like there is a clip somewhere of it, like obviously sort of half exploding and launching straight at his head and smacking him in the face. And then bouncing off, but it didn't have it in the pay-per-view. It's sort of cut with him like then covered.
Right, I thought it was just
a shame.
sugar
It's probably the best thing he's ever done.
Yes,
we
totally.
didn't get to see it.
I mean, you say that. Have you seen that video? That GIF of him jumping off the second rope?
Oh yes, that is not good.
That's his greatest gift to wrestling. That is.
Pretty good.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm sure the listeners now have a very good idea of the kind of era that we're in and that we're talking about now. For those that obviously don't know this, because it is considered a pretty classic pay-per-view, I think. So it took place on the 5th of April 1992 at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, Indiana, with an attendance of 62,167. Massive venue. And it's one of those that it has that roof, but it's basically daylight at the start. And I know that you guys feel differently, but I love venues like that where it's daylight and it goes into darkness. Personally, I like that. The dome was made up of Teflon-coated fiberglass and weighed 257 tons. And apparently, it was held up. It was held up by the air pressure inside the building.
What?
It was 193 feet high, though the height varied up to 5 feet as the materials expanded and contracted with the weather.
This is the most... Okay, yeah, cool.
The most fascinating thing ever.
Yeah,
The most
if I know that information.
architecture facts we've ever had on the podcast.
It is. It's because I looked up the Hoosier Dome to find out what, like, if it was still going, and I read about that roof, and I thought that was pretty interesting. And in fact, the Hoosier Dome was demolished in 2008 to make room to expand a nearby convention centre.
Could you look up more stadium facts and just drop them in the pod from now on?
For the rewind ones?
Adam's architecture.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. Spin-off pod. Here we come. The commentary team for this was Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan. This was the last time that they did a WrestleMania together, and they're good.
I'm going to come out and say it. They are
Best
my favourite
comedy.
commentary team.
Yeah,
They
definitely.
are
I love these
fantastic.
guys.
I love the way they argue with each other.
Yeah. Will you stop? They're hilarious throughout. And it's such a nice change from commentary these days where they just have to hit certain bullet points and push certain angles.
Yes.
So funny.
Yeah.
Obviously a bit un-PC at times, but...
Yeah, there was the one comment about she should be back in the kitchen making dishes, not making signs. That kind of was a little bit out of
he said, you should be back in the kitchen, and then just went, bimbo. No need for that. I think I've got a little recording of that, actually.
Natural disasters rule. How about that?
She'd be home doing the dishes. She wouldn't have time to make stupid cards like that. Bimbo.
The WrestleMania had two taglines, because Brett alluded to the fact that it had two main events. So the taglines were the Macho Flair Affair and Friendship Torn Apart, which is terrible.
Yes.
And moving on to the card, apparently there was a dark match, a pre-show of the Beverly Brothers versus the Bushwhackers.
That sounds exciting.
Bushwhackers.
It sounds where it belonged.
Yeah, exactly. And then the card, Shawn Michaels versus El Matador, Tito Santana. Jake the Snake Roberts versus The Undertaker. Rowdy Roddy Piper versus Bret the Hitman Hart. There was an 8-man tag match with Big Boss Man, Virgil, Sergeant Slaughter and Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus the Mountie, Repo Man and the Nasty Boys. Great names. Such great names. Macho Man Randy Savage versus Ric Flair. Tatanka versus Rick Martel. Money Inc. versus the Natural Disasters. Owen Hart versus Skinner the Alligator Man. And finally Sid Justice versus Hulk Hogan.
I mean, let's be honest here. The card was all of that up to Macho Man Randy Savage. Then there was a half an hour break where a few matches took place. And then it was Sid Justice versus Hulk Hogan.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, so many matches. So our review, we're going to do it classic rewind style. We're going to talk about our best match, our worst match, standout moment, what the fuck moment. We're going to pick our MVP, talk about what we learned, and then give it a rating. So to start off with, best match. Who's going to go first? Sam.
It's got to be Piper versus Bret Hart. That was amazing.
Defo.
Easily the best match.
Yeah.
Real solid one. Really enjoyed it. I haven't watched a lot of Roddy Piper, but kind of watching this was just like... It feels like he never quite achieved the maximum of his career that he should have with that ability.
Yeah, especially considering like just his promo before the match, and that, like one of the things that I just watched all through because I did pick up like I had Piper's DVD box set thing ages ago, and like it's all the Piper's Pits interviews that he did. Like he was just so intense on the microphone, and so funny and just so quick. It was just brilliant.
It's not often you get a wrestler who has like the whole package just tied into one so well, like kind of fantastic promos, excellent wrestling, just the works, you know?
Yeah, he carried that character into the ring as well.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it just showed with his wrestling. It's so intense.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Like,
really
there's a
good
bit
intensity.
where like Brett threw him out of the ring and he came storming back in really hot, and it's just like, oh, so fucking cool.
Yeah, there was a few moments in this, and I don't know whether I'm giving like modern day a disservice and it's there and I'm just not noticing it, or maybe it's too subtle. But there was a few matches in this where the character just totally bled into every movement during the match as well. It's just sublime.
And you can't talk about this match without talking about the blade job, which is a very interesting affair that happened. So my understanding being that at this point in time, blading was basically said, no, let's not do that anymore. And they decided to do it anyway. So Roddy kicks him in the face. Brett blades. And then because he did such a good job of it, because he's the excellence of execution, they got away with it.
Yeah, and then
A lot of blood.
then what happens after that? Ric Flair does the same thing, but it's way too obvious, and he got fined 15,000 for it.
That's
15 grand.
that's a lot.
I have to say, I obviously I didn't notice the blade in either match, really.
I definitely noticed it in the Flair match.
Yeah, so that's interesting because I noticed in the Flair match, and I'd heard that he got that fine for it, but I didn't realise this was blading in this match.
Yeah.
I thought I actually rewound it and looked at that punch.
So you thought it was the punch, because that's what I thought as well at first.
Yeah,
Because
I
that's when
thought
it
he'd
looks
caught his
like
eye.
it starts.
Yeah, I thought he'd caught his eye or something, and then I was like, oh, that's really cool because it actually looks legit and it looks good.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it had a real nice ringing sound to it. But yeah, man, this match was just a very good match. Bret Hart is obviously just a fantastic wrestler. Roddy Piper, fantastic wrestler. And, you know, even the promo beforehand was just really good. Just an enjoyable, easily the best match on the card for me, I think.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say easily because I'm going to pick out another one.
I've got one that surprised me in how much I enjoyed it watching it now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, go on then, Brett.
But you can go. Oh, I was going to say, like, so the whole reason I picked this pay-per-view was for Bret Hart, Roddy Piper, because that is one of my all-time favourite matches. But the one that actually got me more this time, perhaps because I haven't seen it so many times, was Ric Flair versus Macho Man.
Yeah, that's my favourite.
Because I never liked Ric Flair in his day, because he was to me as a young watcher with all the others that were there, he was older, he wasn't like as bright or as flamboyant, like he just didn't have any of those.
I mean, that's the one thing he.
No, but not to the.
He didn't have a job. He didn't have a job gimmick, so we weren't interested.
or fluorescent face paint. Muscles that like were on muscles.
He had literally
on muscles
fluorescent
on muscles.
skin.
Yes.
And hair.
But when I was watching this, like, there was even early on in the match, like they went to the outside of the match. They were just throwing punches, and then he just did his slow walk up the steps. He's not going to jump in the ring. I'm going to walk to the edge and slowly walk up the steps. And he did it later on as well. And it was just like everything he did had his character in it.
Yeah.
Ric Flair is a fantastic heel.
I have to go back and watch more because, like, it was total class.
Yeah,
by him in this
such
match.
a guy you love to hate. He's so slimy and just.
I totally agree with Brett. And when I was a kid, I had no interest in him at all for all the reasons that Brett's just outlined. But to see how brilliant he was, not only in the ring, and I thought he was great in the match, but the stuff with Elizabeth, and then that promo afterwards with the blood, with the red blood in his blonde hair, the way, the intensity that he has with that. I mean, that is an iconic promo, isn't it?
It's one of the best.
It was so good. So good to watch.
I love how he can do a different woo depending on the situation. He can do like a really excited woo, and they can do like a really drawn out woo.
He's like a Pokemon.
Oh, nice, John. Nice.
one of the things I actually really liked about a lot of this pay-per-view actually was the promos using more than one camera. So a lot of the time they'd be doing a promo and they'd be like, "You tell him, Mr. Perfect," and then the camera would literally cut to Mr. Perfect, who would then do a promo from a different angle. Just cute, funny, enjoyable.
Agree.
Especially with probably the Brain Heenan in the background as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I love the fact that obviously we had the drama in this match of Mr. Perfect getting involved, handing out the steel chair, and then Elizabeth coming out, and we saw Shane McMahon as a little executive. Did you spot him?
Yep. That's one of his first televised appearances.
Yeah, they were doing a terrible job of trying to keep Elizabeth back, weren't they?
They did a really good
She's
job
so
though,
strong.
of holding Macho Man down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whilst Mr. Perfect got his kicks in.
I think as Brett said, it was just to be able to go back and watch people. Obviously, Macho Man, we all loved when we were kids, but I hadn't watched an awful lot of Ric Flair matches, and to be able to watch this and enjoy it, and the storytelling was great, and the Elizabeth stuff, and then the promo just capped it all off afterwards. I really loved it, and the fact that Heenan was so biased and involved and went backstage afterwards.
Yeah.
This was my favourite match, but only just.
What I really loved in this match is that there was a near fall from a double axe handle.
Yes.
Yes.
So the only thing I wasn't mad about was the finish. I didn't like the roll up.
It was it felt a bit weird, didn't it? It didn't really build. It was a bit strange, the finish.
Yeah, I thought the match had built in the essence that like there was lots of throwing punches and stuff early on, and then it started to just like in the Hitman Piper match, the wrestling maneuvers started to come out in slightly quicker succession, and a roll up is always out of nowhere though, isn't it?
And you got to see the beautiful Macho Man elbow drop, which
So good, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, I love the fact we got to see that.
I'd read, and I wish I'd read this before just to add to it, but not really to add to it, but it wasn't long after this that Elizabeth and Macho properly separated as well. They were done
in
at
August.
this point.
August of this year, I think. Oh, not this year, of the 92.
Yeah,
Bloody
92.
hell.
So that's another, factor of
Another
just
layer. Yeah. Okay. Should we move on then to worst match? There were quite a few matches in this that were kind of nothing matches. I initially wrote down Owen Hart versus Skinner for my worst match because it was just nothing. But it sort of seems pointless talking about that.
Yeah.
How much can you hate a match that was only a minute long?
Yeah, exactly.
Plus,
John,
although it was only a minute, but it still had Owen Hart in it, so that's a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yes.
What did you go for, John?
Sid Justice versus Hulk Hogan. That match
pleased.
was a steaming pile of shit.
I'm pleased you went for this.
Yeah, this was bad.
It was just slow and ploddy. It just didn't go anywhere.
It was terrible, but I have to say, more in the party time of wrestling, but when Hogan came out, his music was continuing. He was punching Sid Vicious and
his music going for ages.
Because he was going into the crowd while he was still beating him up and the match hadn't started. I was Hogan was party time. When the actual match happens, it's it's those very few moves and it's slow and crap and over, but it's the before and the after.
Great to see the atmosphere, the crowd.
Yeah, the great thing about these old WrestleManias is the sort of pop that Hogan gets.
Yes,
it's unbelievable. It's unreal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know, there was something I liked about Sid Justice. I think it was just the fact that he was completely batshit insane.
He had a great look. Do you know he looks like a henchman from a Frank Miller graphic novel?
Yeah,
he does. His face, his head is square.
Incredibly threatening, incredibly psycho, as they obviously alluded to a bunch of times. I did like in the middle of the match him going over to the cameraman and just saying, "Do unto others as we do unto you, but do it first."
That was quite cool.
Wandering off, just
But he's just not very good, is he?
No. The best thing about this, there were two great things about this match. And one of them happened before the match with Sid screaming at Mean Gene during the interview, which I thought was great. And the second bit was when Sid powerbombed Hulk Hogan, and Hulk Hogan was just flopping around on the mat like a dead fish.
Oh man, yeah. That powerbomb was rough, but the selling was very funny.
Hogan sold the shit out of that. That was great. Well done.
Really, this was just like a massive way for people just to feed Hogan's ego even more, wasn't it? This match, like, it had all the classic Hogan stuff, and obviously the hulking up. That test of strength knuckle lock is just, it's like pantomime stuff, isn't it? It's so hammy,
so boring,
and also like for Hogan, who was, you know, a big guy, all those muscles, and yet like the power slam was like his biggest power move.
Yeah. Strange.
Yeah,
which,
that was
like,
really funny.
you know, anyone can do.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we probably can do it.
I mean, not us, but wrestling wise.
We'll do it next time we meet. But yeah, I just thought it was like a typical Hogan match from the ones that I've seen in terms of, and also, I mean, we should mention that we had the whole thing sort of in the lead up to this, that apparently it was potentially going to be Hogan's last ever match, which obviously is stupid in hindsight, but it was just a big thing for the crowd to be like, oh my god, Hogan, you know, is this his last match? This is so amazing. Oh, look at you hulking up, this is incredible. Oh yes, we get to you're going to stick around, we get to keep being big fans.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be very WWE for them to bring Hogan back at Saudi Arabia.
I
Just feels like everything would match.
If it wasn't for all the sort of stuff in the news about Saudi Arabia, I'd be like, that's 90% certain, I'd say.
Well, they may as well do it.
I think because of all this stuff with what's going on, I think they probably might try and... The last thing they need is the outrage of being in Saudi Arabia and also Hulk Hogan coming back.
Yeah.
See, that's what makes it so WWE.
We're not gonna ignore the bit that John spoiled, are we?
Oh no, that was the best bit.
Which was
I hated the match,
best bit
but I
of
loved
this
the
match.
ending.
Yeah.
Yeah. My guy.
When Shango ran out, I was like,
my other guy.
Yeah. I had a big grin because I was like, Adam's gonna love this. It's like,
we should
Shango running out.
We should explain that we were talking about this on our WhatsApp group, and John wasn't talking. It was just the three of us chatting about the pay-per-view a little bit, and then John just comes in with a all in caps Shango ! And I had to explain that I still had 40 minutes left to watch, and I didn't know that was going to happen. So he spoilt the cameo, the run out from Shango.
And then it got better though, because then Warrior ran out.
Then, oh my god!
And boy, did he run for miles to get to that ring at full pelt.
Yeah, and what a huge reaction when he came out! Like the crowd.
Man, I love the Ultimate Warrior.
Genuine
as a
surprise.
wrestler, not as a person.
Well, I read something interesting about this. Apparently, so obviously the match ends. Hogan does the leg drop of doom on Sid. What was meant to happen is Shango was meant to come out then and stop the 3 count.
Yeah, Shango fucked up.
Right.
Yeah, missed his cue completely.
Which is just perfect. but it meant that Sid kicked out of Hulk's finisher, which is a big no-no.
And then everyone just
at
looked
the
very
time.
confused at each other in the middle of the ring.
Yeah.
That explains so much, because it was really strange that Whippleman gets up on the apron and then the disqualification happens. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But the commentary didn't sell the fact that Sid had kicked out, because that was not supposed to happen. Like they didn't really go into it. But Shango had one job, and he'd literally been sitting there for 4 hours waiting. Be like, okay, all I have to do is run out, and I have to run out this time. And he fucked it up.
It wasn't even if he came out running particularly fast either. Like, he just shambles to the ring.
Yeah, and then Ultimate Warrior showed him how to run.
Oh, he literally Shangos to the ring.
Literally Shango to the ring.
Yeah.
It was funny. I hated this match, but I did enjoy the ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a difficult one because, really it wasn't the worst match because it's got lots of really fun talking points, but at least we've had the chance to chat about them. Any other worst matches or bad matches?
I mean, that 8-man tag match was awful.
I disagree. I thought it was alright.
I didn't mind it.
Hacksaw.
I think
God, I hate Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
I think I have a special place in my heart for Hacksaw. He's the first wrestler I ever saw live. I kind of think The Undertaker versus Jake Roberts was awful.
No.
I quite like that. I quite liked it because it was
I thought it was
old school
good.
Undertaker, where it was like really slow and ploddy.
Yes.
This was, of course, his second win of the streak.
Yep. His first one was against famous murderer Jimmy Snooker, wasn't it?
I think you're right, yeah.
Ooh, let's
move on from him.
He's dead, it's alright, it's fine, he's dead. Just like his victims.
Should we talk about? Should we talk about standout moment and move on quickly from?
Live wire, John, bringing
Actually, it's not libel if they're dead, is it? Yeah.
John, have you been on the coke along with the rest of these guys?
Of course he has. We're podcasting. That's what John does.
Oh, yeah, right.
That pod money.
Standout moment. I'm going to go first for this, just because. And in fact, it's pointless me going first because basically I noted down 2 moments and they're ones we've already talked about. But the first one was Ric Flair's promo with the blood in his hair, and then the second one was Ultimate Warrior's run out because he was my favourite wrestler at that time. And I mean, obviously, you'd think if he was my favourite wrestler, I would have known that this had happened. But like I say in episode 1, I didn't watch much wrestling. I just bought figures and posters. But I really enjoyed that, and John didn't spoil that for us. So that was my standout moment. Brett, what was yours?
I'm going to go against type for me, but I'm going to have to say it's Shawn Michaels selling an atomic drop.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that was mine as well. God, he sold that like a champ, didn't he? It was amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. You don't see enough of that sort of style, along with like what Mr. Perfect used to do a lot with selling stuff. Amazing.
Nice. Sam?
It's got to be the firework that went off behind Miss Elizabeth and Macho Man. Scared the living shit out of them. It was hilarious. And then they do the pull out of the camera. It's like, oh, right, it fell off the truss or whatever. And yeah, just very entertaining. I don't think it was meant to do that.
The fireworks, again, is like a classic thing that we've noticed on these old pay-per-views. So risky.
And yeah, these ones did not look safe.
Yeah.
No, was it the Hogan
like
match?
Once you get down the pound shop, don't they?
Yeah. Was it the Hogan match where it looked like the whole
ring
ring had set alight?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked ropey.
And you know that like, all of the front row was getting covered in bits of ash and lint.
The ring literally set on fire when the one behind Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth goes off.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And her reaction as well. And it's just like, God, what would she have done if Kane had ever come down to the ring?
Yeah. She would have been a mess. And John, did you agree with Michael's leg drop?
Yes.
Michael's
the atomic drop
selling.
was great, but also just Ric Flair getting colour with his like hair.
Yeah.
It's a bit like Cody at All In. Like he just looks so good with blood on him.
Yeah.
It's such a strong look. Bleach blonde with blood.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Summer 2018. Oh, we've had summer 2018. Summer
2019.
I'm trying to. Yeah, thank you. Sorry,
There
the
you
concept
go.
of time escapes me.
Yeah, you just add 1 to the year that you were talking about, and that's the following.
I'm going to work it out in my own time. All right, Adam?
Okay, cool. Next up is what the fuck moment. So a moment that made you say what the fuck, but not necessarily in a good way. John.
Mine was the Lex Luger weird bodybuilders promo.
That was amazingly awful.
Come on, what? That was amazing.
He looks so weird, doesn't he?
Lex.
God, he's so
Can
wide.
we see some abs?
That was weird. And the way he drank that milk at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, was it milk? I thought it was like Ico Pro or maybe ball semen or something weird.
Fight milk.
I guess it was
There's
milk.
no way Lex has a body like that drinking milk.
Okay, bull semen then, fine. We'll go with that. Sam, what was your what the fuck moment?
It was probably like how excited I was to see an Owen Hart match. And then the whole minute later being, what the fuck? Literally those words.
Same.
Yeah, okay, good, perfect. And Brett?
Can I add? None of you probably remember, but the referee in the first match,
The
his
ginger
haircut.
dude. Oh my God. He had the
What
tash and
was
the
that
bowl
haircut?
cut. Yeah. He looked like someone from Napoleon Dynamite.
Yes.
It was like my first note for the whole pay-per-view was, what the fuck with that haircut?
For me, I was going to say Rick Martel's accent, but it turns out he's from Quebec, so it actually makes sense.
That's what it was. I was wondering what his accent was. I
Yeah.
thought it might have been like Louisiana or something, but...
For a second, I thought he was English, trying to do a weird American accent, but yeah.
I like the fact he wears a badge that says he's a model. Like, I don't think people are going to quite get what your gimmick is. We need something else.
I love that. It's like Buffy, like in every generation there's a Slayer. In every generation of wrestling, there's a model. The current one is Tyler Breeze and Breezango.
But yeah, my main what the fuck moment was the guy from Family Feud introducing the 8-man tag.
I thought that was
took
funny.
ages, didn't it? Oh,
It
God,
was
that was
so
awful.
It was so cringeworthy.
Oh, I like that. I thought it was good.
Oh,
No,
Sam,
yeah. What
no.
did he say about the Mountie? I liked that. He was ribbing the Mountie.
In our first team, I will introduce, even though I cannot survey who you think win, I did go to the crowd and I asked 100 people for a survey of the words to describe each opponent here today. In this corner, we have a man, the survey said, the Mountie, a man who doesn't know the meaning of the word fear. But then again, they said there's a lot of words he does not know the meaning of.
I thought there was some good burns in there. I think one of them was like, his parents were disappointed. They wanted a boy. Oh. I found that funny as
Yeah,
fuck.
great burn.
Great burn, sick.
Early 90s
Anyway.
burns.
I felt like one of the Nasty Boys had hair plugs put in as well. He had really weird hair.
Oh god, that's a lost cause.
MVP time. The standout performer from the pay-per-view. I'll go first. It has to be Papa Shango.
You are kidding me, really?
Okay.
He fucked up literally the one thing he had to do. What an amazing guy.
I mean, that's a pretty strong
Ruined
argument.
WrestleMania.
Sam?
Yeah, fuck it. Papa Shango, man.
Yes, Sam.
He ran out and he gave me a happy moment.
Great shout. Great shout. John?
I'm going for Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Ooh.
One of the greatest of all time, and was on fire during this pay-per-view.
He really
Yeah.
was, yeah.
Actually, he and Monsoon, they probably are the MVPs.
Yeah.
Brett, what do you think?
Oh, what do I think? I'm going to go with Roddy Piper, because anytime he's got a microphone, I enjoy watching.
Very good. Good choice. Next up is what did we learn? What could modern day wrestling take from this pay-per-view? And Sam, I'm going to go with you first. I'm just doing this quite
bring back
randomly.
a little bit of cocaine. Just a little bit. Just enough to make the promos exciting again, you know?
It's very shouty though, like
Yeah, exactly.
peaking a lot, wasn't it?
I like it. I mean, it's kind of like our podcast. It's just good.
It's just good. That's our new tagline.
See, mine was that cocaine and steroids don't mix.
Oh, no, they absolutely do, surely.
Yeah.
Just pick a lane, wrestlers. Just choose one or the other.
I had that a couple of things again, but the fact that the rise of smartphones means that we've lost the spectacle of when 1,000 flashes go off at once.
Oh yeah,
And they had quite a few moments where a wrestler would come out or they'd strike a certain pose and you'd get all the flash bulbs going off and it just looks so good.
Yeah.
Surely none of those photos would come out as well.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
you could see them in the crowd like with little disposables just winding on the film. Like that is not going to come out.
Yeah, there's nothing more annoying than people who take photos with flash like from really far away. It just doesn't
Are we not
work.
meant to do that? I didn't know that.
Of course not. It just lights up like the couple of meters of space in front of you.
Learning
it's not gonna,
things.
if you're in the crowd and you take the photo of a wrestling ring, your flash is not going to, that little bit of light is not going to light up the wrestler. And
Okay,
it's already well lit.
fair enough.
And you end up with just like this weird like haze
Sorry,
in front
Adam,
of your
please
camera.
don't shout at me anymore.
Why are my photos hazy? Dad?
Sorry.
Because
Okay.
you fucking use your flash, you idiot. Okay,
Wow.
sorry.
Cool.
And then I also had, wrestlers need to scream and shout their way through promos more, which we've touched upon. But we had Legion of Doom, Nasty Boy, Sergeant Slaughter, Big Boss Man, all nailing it. They're shouting. Amazing.
The Legion of Doom one in particular was so shouty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love it. Brett, what did you learn?
I learned that it's quite nice watching a pay-per-view when all the fans are just really stoked to be there and not chanting Saki chants.
Yes. Yeah. Totally.
Like it was just nice that there was none of that. It was just like everyone that came out, they were like, yes.
yeah.
we're
They're not
here
trying to
for
get
this.
themselves over. And they don't have any
Yeah.
stupid, massive signs with their own faces on.
Yes. I think we could learn that.
Yeah.
Definitely. And the shouty promos, because I loved all the shouty promos.
Yeah.
Very nice. Finally, then, we're going to move on to our rating. I think of the hardest part of the ring rewinds, we've only given a rating to Wrestle War in the past, which got 5.75.
Ouch. Take that, WCW.
What year was that? Was that 92 as well?
Well, it was 92. That was like a couple of months before this, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So rating for this, I'm going to start, because Otherwise, I'm likely to get heavily influenced by you guys. And I'm going to go with 7.5. It was good. It was very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, not spectacular. They had too many sort of nothing matches.
I would echo that. I think 7 for me, or maybe 7.5. Yeah, 7.5 for me.
Okay, Brett?
I actually was going to go 8.
Okay.
I'm going 8 because the few good matches that were in it were great, and the rest was like quick enough for it not to bore me.
John, before you pick your rating, I do want to say that if you choose 7, it will make this very easy to add up.
Sounds a bit low. I mean, Bret Hart versus Piper and Macho Flair was so good.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go 8. I have to go 8.
It is.
Well, that makes it easy as well.
Yeah, if you're good at maths. 7.75. A good rating for a good pay-per-view.
7.75. Nice one. Good pick, Brett.
Of course.
Of course. Of course. John, did we get any listener comments?
Yes, we have got some listener comments. We've got Broken But Glorious. They've said Piper versus Brett is a great match. Savage versus Flair had a great story going into it. And obviously, Warrior's return is amazing. Would have liked Taker versus Jake to be a bit longer. And the 8-man tag shouty promo was a lot of fun. I miss 80s shouty promos.
We all do.
See? Yeah, I think we all feel the same about shouty promos.
Definitely.
Also, Total Cult got in touch. He says this is one of his personal favourites. My thoughts are it's probably Piper's best match physically speaking. Flair was great as a lech before he got old and it got weird. And the main event had some great cameos for me as a wee nipper.
Oh, nice.
I mean, Shango and Ultimate Warrior, amazing.
Flair looked very old in this match. I don't know. I think he might have always been old. I think he kind of
I think he was always old.
Yeah. He also wrestled for at least another 15 years after this.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks bloody old now. But that's because he is, which is fine. We're all going to go that way eventually. Anyway, I'm up next to pick the next rewind. We're coming back to me. I'd always been planning on picking SummerSlam 92, but that would mean 3 1992 pay-per-views in a row. So we're not going to do that. Maybe we'll do that in the future. And actually, I think I'm going to go for something completely different. Something that isn't on the network yet, but will be soon, no doubt. So
you're not going to make us watch Crown Jewel, are you?
Oh, yeah. Jesus.
No, that would just be like heel move central.
No. I'm going to go for a progress chapter. If that's okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, I was going to go for chapter 1. Just because I think it'd be really amusing to go back and watch one of those. But actually, I think I'm gonna think more carefully about it. Go for one of the early ones, but go for one that has a good number of classic matches.
Okay.
Yeah. So watch this space, and in a few weeks we'll get round to doing that. But for now, that is the end of the Hardest Part of the Ring rewind for WrestleMania 8.
Have they ever met before in a ring? I don't know that. You don't know a lot of things for a broadcast journalist.
I didn't care to find out.
Oh,
how do you like that,
excuse
Mr. Know-It-All? Do you have a banana to peel or something?
No.
Now it's time to do our 6-month draft catch-up. So for those that aren't aware, just after WrestleMania this year in episode 25, we did the first Hardest Part of the Ring fantasy draft, where we each picked a roster of wrestlers from around the world. And it's been 6 months since then, meaning that we're halfway through the wrestling year, so we thought we'd have a little catch-up to see how we're all feeling. So we're going to keep it brief. We're just going to pick out one wrestler that we're really happy with so far, and one wrestler that we are not so happy with. Sam, do you want to go first?
Yeah, so wrestler I'm really happy with so far has been Cody Rhodes, who perhaps a little bit unsurprisingly has done fantastically well despite losing the NWA title yesterday. Wrestler I'm kind of disappointed with, and I don't know why I'm surprised, is Jinder Mahal. I don't know. I
can't remember the last time I saw him on TV.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking,
he's been
guys.
Doing mixed match challenge matches, hasn't he?
Oh, I don't know. He was doing main event yesterday, I think. It's just an awful choice. I don't know what I was thinking. Especially when I look at you with Dean Ambrose, and I'm like, fuck, why the hell? Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Brett?
Well, a couple of choices, but Ronda Rousey I'm going for.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Standout, really. Other people have been good, but she's like...
So, and she literally just signed then, had she?
Yeah, I think so.
It must have been. I can't believe she's been around for 6 months. Doesn't feel like it, but yeah.
Did we do this after WrestleMania, this draft?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah, good, very good pick. We're all big fans. Who are you not happy about?
I'm not happy about
Bobby Lashley.
Well, I could say that, right? But he's had some matches. I'm going to go with Eric Young because...
No, that's a good point. He hasn't had any matches.
Right, I don't know where he is. Is he still alive?
Despite that, he's probably still doing better than Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
He doesn't have Leo Rush next to him going, Lashley.
Oh, God, I hate that. I hate that a lot. Okay, John?
I am happy with Volta, just because he is tearing up the place at the moment.
Yeah. Solid.
Great pick.
And never disappoints. I'm disappointed with the Revival, just because they were so good in NXT.
They've shown signs recently, but
Still,
they're a great tag team. They really are. It's just bad booking and injuries didn't help.
I think this is something like I have to keep telling myself with main roster is like they're still good wrestlers.
Yeah.
They're still good wrestlers. They haven't suddenly got bad.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean they're going to do well when the scoring comes round at the end of the year, unfortunately. I'm really happy with Matt Riddle, because obviously always knew that he was going to have another great year, but just assumed that it was going to be on the Indies, or maybe he'd go to New Japan. Had no idea he'd signed for NXT, but there's no doubt he'll totally smash it there. I'm not very happy with my gamble of picking Neville or Pac.
No way.
So
I mean, he's
started
returned.
wrestling again.
Yeah. I mean, after months and months out, he's returned to Dragon Gate, but
None of us watch Dragon Gate?
None of us watch it, do we?
No, but a lot of Dragon Gate
he'll be at
wrestlers,
Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, a lot of Dragon Gate wrestlers will appear at New Japan events.
Yeah.
But I just sort of hoped he would go straight to New Japan, or at least, or maybe come and do some indies over here or something, so that we'd get to watch a lot more of his matches. So potentially he'd score well. So,
I still think that's a good choice.
Yeah,
actually.
it's still a worthwhile gamble. I think it's still got a chance.
I think this speaks highly. Basically the quality of my roster is just so high. Neville
I'm just saying that kind of like
you're
disappointed in Neville and you've got the Street Profits. So
yeah.
Street Profits are good. I like Street Profits.
They are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, John. I'm not that convinced, but yeah, thanks, John. Okay, that was our 6 month catch up. Obviously, in 6 months' time, we'll go through the whole thing, the whole draft, all of our rosters one by one, and give scores and find out who the new draft champ is. But that's that for now.
Hold on and hook him. Well, Hot Rod went right to the concrete, and a hitman just whacked his back on the apron. I think he got the worst of it. I think he did too.
Right, hardest question of the week time. This is the second week we've had this new segment.
Question week.
I put a question out on Twitter. Who sported the best face paint in wrestling history? So while you guys have a little think about that, I'll let you know what people said on Twitter. Will Superkick said Sting's face paint is iconic. Goldust had some sick face paint during his tag run with Cody, but for me it will always be Jeff Hardy. MJ from U Total Cult said, wow, this is tough. I mean, Papa Shango is a skull, which is just badass. I've always liked MJ from U Total. And he said, I've got a soft spot for the bizarreness of Jinsei Shinzaki, but probably Ultimate Warrior, as it seems downright iconic. Broken But Glorious said, it's got to be Joker Sting, but I also always like Smash. Bomber Bradbury said, when I think face paint, it's always the Road Warriors / Legion of Doom who come to mind. Some weirdo called John Mewett got in touch and said it's got to be Blue Meanie.
Yeah, come on.
I love the fact that you tweeted the hardest part of the Ring account.
Yeah.
You could have just
It's
said
a
it.
terrible choice.
It's a great choice. Come on.
You said a lot of work has gone into making it look like he did it 1 minute before going out.
Yep. I reckon Blue Mini's 5 hours of makeup before each match.
Yeah. And then finally, old Mr. Beerface said, take your pick, and sent us pictures of Knuckleball, who, if you remember, was the baseball guy.
Yeah, Brooklyn Brawler, wasn't it?
Yeah, Kamala, the Boogeyman, and then a picture of Doink, Dink, Pink, and Wink. And he then said that that's always how he imagined us when listening.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
Yeah, he's not wrong at all. You guys, any other picks? I think they've done a good job there of covering most of the big ones.
So, not actually a great face paint, but maybe just a great look overall is Asuka's. She's got like the line across the face.
So, yeah,
subtle.
That's a different shout.
That is a very subtle choice, yeah. You're going to pick Tony Storm next.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, fucking it. Tony Storm, it's good.
Even more subtle, okay. Brett, anything to add?
I thought Sam was going to go Goldust.
I mean, it's an obvious choice. We don't need to say it.
Yeah. But random choice, I was going to say Sensational Queen Sherry when she used to
good one.
paint up like a tiger.
Yeah, nice.
I thought that was always great.
Great way to end.
I'm quite liking Jericho's new Joker look as well.
Yeah, that's creepy. That's definitely creepy. What about Finn Balor, Demon?
Yeah.
Demon Finn Balor is amazing. The quality of the face paint, yeah. The fact
And
that
then he comes out
bleeds
and
from his
wrestles the
face to his
exact
neck,
same way.
to his chest. Yeah, true. Okay, that's that. Thanks very much for getting in touch with your answers to that. There'll be another one of those next week. And next week we will be discussing WWE Evolution. Obviously the first ever all-female pay-per-view. Oh my God, watching Raw last night, they did not do anything to try and build up excitement for that. Yeah. I mean, look, obviously they had the sad news at the start and then they had the heel turn at the end. But Evolution's this weekend.
Yeah, it's purely a knee-jerk reaction to stop people moaning from the first Saudi Arabia show where the women weren't allowed to appear. Like, it's that and it's nothing more. So they haven't actually bothered to push it, which is shameful. Yeah. Totally shameful.
When they first announced it, I was so excited about this pay-per-view, but seeing the card, it's just like... They should be showcasing how amazing the women talent is on WWE now.
Yeah.
Not going back into the past and dragging all these people out of retirement.
Do you think it is a knee-jerk reaction? I think that's maybe a little bit harsh criticism.
No, the thing is, I think it's worth it. I don't think there shouldn't be one.
Yeah, you can't criticise it for happening. But I know you're not, though. You're not.
But like, no, I don't think it's been done in a reaction to the Saudi Arabia show. Like, I think they've had this in the works for a good while. Like, probably since the last Mae Young Classic.
Yeah, well, when was the last Saudi Arabia show?
This year,
a year ago.
Yeah.
Was it a year?
Was it?
Was it?
How long ago was it?
It wasn't that long ago at all.
Yeah, like Greatest Royal Rumble. It was like March.
Yeah.
But thing is, though, they just got, like, this time with the Saudi Arabia show, they're getting grief, obviously, politically, which they definitely should do. But the first one, there was so much, like, there was so much going on social media, rightly so, about, them doing a show where women weren't allowed to appear.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
There was a lot of talk about it, and it sort of, I do think that WWE, in some instances, they have long-term vision. In other instances, I do think they probably were going to do a women's pay-per-view. I thought they thought this is now we need to pull that trigger.
Yeah, I mean, I
okay,
can
well,
see
thanks for listening. Yeah, Brett, why don't you just tell us how people can get in touch?
They can get on their soapbox with me and shout really loudly. You can email us at hardestpartofthering@gmail.com. You can catch us on the socials, which is Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We are at hardestpartpod, and we have a shop on Big Cartel, which is hardestpartofthering.bigcartel.com.
Brilliant.
Lovely.
Thank you very much. And thanks, guys. After, we had a week off, and I've really, really missed doing this. So it's a pleasure to be back. Okay, glad the feeling's mutual. Thank you very much to everybody for tuning in. I haven't said it for a while, so I'll say it now. Please do give us a review on iTunes if you can be bothered, and give us 5 stars and a review, because it helps people find the podcast. And then we get loads of new listeners, and then it's great, and it's like a big family and stuff like that.
And we'll send you some free stickers.
Yeah, free stickers. That's the one. If you take a screenshot of your review, we will send you some cool free stickers designed by Brett. Until next week, when we'll talk about WWE Evolution. Definitely not a knee-jerk pay-per-view. Thank you very much, and goodbye from me. Goodbye from John.
Goodbye.
I did John first. Goodbye from Sam.
What?
And goodbye from Brett.
Goodbye.
That was the hardest part of the ring.
That is the hardest part of that ring. On the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring.
Did you ever say hello to Tatanka?
Yes.
Did you do it properly?
Yes.
You said, hey, how are you? Hey, how are you?
Doesn't do that. Monsoon, I'm going to get out of here. It is a happening here at the Hoosier Dome. We'll never forget this. For the brain, this is the gorilla saying, so long, everybody.